Mais j'ai eu un bonus, j'ai pris l'Azur. Ça m'a consolé.
Enchanté, Chris.
Enchanté, Conan. Ça fait Mr. B. Ça se fait.
Ça, c'est un nom qu'on rencontre à tous les jours.
Pour moi, ça va jamais.
Je me souviens de...
Genre ça. Des chanceux, j'ai même pris le nom comme
C'est ça, j'ai vu la compagnie.
Okay, our last team this morning, ProtERA from Mali.
From?
Video
Mali.
presentation.
Mali, wow. Music, good music from there.
Good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Does this work?
No.
Nobody, I don't think anybody
You have
has
to whistle.
managed to work
Where
this
should I
morning.
be? Should I be here or?
You have it in front of you,
Yeah.
so you can just watch. It's all
Where should
over.
I stand? Here or here?
Hey,
It's your
whatever you want.
decision,
You want,
really?
you can be on the desk if you want.
Can I sit? Okay. I need to clock myself. Cool. Good morning, everyone. Demographics is the highest challenge of the 21st century. In fact, by 2050, the global population is expected to reach 9.6 billion people. The African population is expected to double in the next 35 years, from 1.1 billion people today to 2.4 billion people by 2050. Accordingly, food production is expected to increase. In particular, meat production is expected to increase by 70%. In order to feed those animals, we need to double the animal feed production. We're currently using fish meal and grain meal to feed our animals. The current fish production is very unsustainable. In fact, since 1950, we've actually caught 90% of open ocean fish. We've almost decimated the oceans. And today, of the 10% remaining that we're also overfishing, we use 1/4 of everything just to feed our animals with powder that we call fish meal. And the cost of fish meal is actually rising and has been rising for the past 5 years.
Here's the keyboard.
Well, this is just showing up. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, the keyboard.
Grain meal, the second product that we use. Did you know that 30% of all global grain production is going to animal feed? 85% of soybean production and 50% of corn production is going to animal feed. Europe alone uses 90 million hectares of land outside of Europe just to produce grains to feed their animals. That's the size of Tanzania. That's actually 1/10 of Canada's total surface. And grain production is very resource intensive, as it uses 70% of fresh water, 40% of emerged land, and 1/10 of almost all global greenhouse gases are coming from that production. And lastly, it uses 110 million tons of fertilizers and pesticides per year to allow that production to happen.
Yeah,
Use the keyboard.
Well, this is just showing up.
if you
Like
press
that.
S,
Keeps coming up.
Okay. I don't know.
What?
The problem, we need to double the feed production by 2050 to feed those animals. We need an alternative feed to meet that growing demand while preserving the environment. I have a solution. Actually, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization has a solution, and the solution lies in insect protein. According to them, insect protein is the future of feed and food. In fact, insects are very efficient in terms of resource. They use drastically less water, land, and emit negligible greenhouse gases to produce the same amount of protein as plant sources and animal sources. And lastly, they're very nutritious. More than protein, they contain iron, calcium, omega, and contain all essential amino acids adapted to human nutrition. In addition, the Protein Insect Project, launched in 2012, has investigated the potential of fly larvae as a sustainable alternative to fish meal and grain meal in Mali, Ghana, and China. So at ProtERA, our solution is to do mass farming of black soldier fly larvae to replace fish meal and replace fish meal and grain meal in animal feed. So this species is really amazing. The black soldier fly is not a pest. It doesn't transmit any diseases. It doesn't eat, it doesn't smell, it doesn't bite, and can produce up to 1,000 eggs in just 4 days of adult life. 15 days later, after feeding, those eggs develop into mature larvae, and those larvae can be dehydrated then to make a powder with it, with which we can actually replace the two products mentioned before to feed poultry, fish, and pigs. So basically monogastrics, one stomach animals. This is a great solution because it's cheaper and actually more nutritious. Currently, the soybean meal used by our first customer is $718. Our product is actually $692. It's $65 cheaper than what's used on the market currently, and it's richer in terms of protein. The current one is 45% protein in dry matter. We go up to 55% protein in dry matter, and it actually contains unsaturated fat at 35% of the weight. Also calcium, iron, and omega. It's just mind-blowing, and it's way richer than what's happening on the market. And I explain to you why the unsaturated fat is in red later. What we do, we collect organic waste, fruit and vegetable waste. It's evaluated to be 90 million metric tons of fruit and vegetable waste in sub-Saharan Africa. That's basically the methane emission of 12 million cars. So what we do is that we approach industrials using fruits and vegetables as their input, and marketplaces where the fruits go bad. We collect the fruit to make a substrate with it. At the same time, we breed our insects. We collect the eggs. We have a production sheet on which we mix the eggs and the substrate, and 15 days later, our eggs have consumed up to 70% of the organic matter and left 30% that's going to be a compost that we actually sell. So we collect our, it's actually very efficient. It's, as Laplace says, we don't lose anything, we transform everything. And we collect the fresh larvae in the compost. Then we have to separate the larvae from the compost. This machine was designed by my partner to separate the larvae from the compost. Then we dehydrate the larvae, and then we crush it into the powder to replace it. I mentioned the unsaturated fat. That's really good for the human body. That unsaturated fat can be extracted using a chemical process and has the property of, wait for it, biodiesel. ProtERA product and customers. Our products are insect meal that we produce using our larvae, sold at $692 per ton. We also sell the compost at $45 a ton, but since compost is subsidized by the Malian government, we're able to sell it at only $25 per ton. And we also have the mag meal. We sell the mag oil that we plan to sell to the fish producers because they use it in the feed for their fish. Our insect meal is sold to Avifarm. Avifarm is one of the biggest poultry producers of Mali, about to reach 75,000 heads of poultry in 2017. And we sell our compost to the CDB Agrotechnique, and they're producing tomato. Our market. In the first year, we want to produce 1 ton per day, which is very reasonable. That's 1.4% of the protein market, which is, the protein is only 5% of the animal feed. So we're able to produce 1 ton per day in the first year, to increase to 1,200 tons in the third year, and that's 4.5% of the Malian protein market. So what is the social impact, social business competition? The impact is huge. We create 15 jobs in the first year, and we go up to 50 jobs in the third year. Each ton of meal that we produce is saving 1 ton of fish in the ocean. So by the end of the third year, we're saving more than 1,200 tons of fish in the ocean. Thirdly, lastly, we are recycling waste and preserving the environment from methane. So we're recycling 9,500 tons of organic waste in the first year to reach 30,000 tons of organic waste in the third year. and we are preserving the environment from the methane or the greenhouse gases emission of 3,600 cars. Our impact of substituting grain meal. We're saving water, land, and reduce greenhouse gases emissions because we're no longer producing grains for animals. We also decrease the fertilizers and chemical pesticide use. That's amazing for the environment and for human health of the people around the production areas, notably in South America. And we divert grains from animal to human consumption. Using 30% of all grains for animals, now we're able to substitute that so human beings can have access to more grains. Lastly, we decrease the food, fuel, feed competition because grains like corn are used for ethanol. So if we can substitute ethanol, then we're able to decrease the competition that that's happening for this product. We want it for food, we want it for feed, we want it for fuel. If we can substitute it, then we can decrease the competition for this product and allow global prices to decrease and allow people who have low revenue to access to this product. This is our financial projection for 2 years. I've broke it down for you guys. We're able to generate a revenue of $300,000 in the first year because of the price, the cheap price of our inputs. We're basically spending all the money in labor, in the expertise that we have to produce and make our production happen, and logistics to bring the product to our facility. We're able to triple that in the third year because we're tripling our production to reach a revenue of $900,000 with a profit of $330,000. At that point, we're planning to mechanize our system and to do a global expansion because this product is needed all over the world. This is a global opportunity. This is our startup cost. We are in need of $100,000. We are breaking even by the second month of the second year. Most of the money is going to the production material because we want the best environment to produce our insect to have the highest yield of eggs. We're constructing 2 buildings to make our operations happen, and we need to buy 2 trucks, and we are spending money in developing our market study to the establishment cost. Experimental phase is predicted to happen in May 2017, and we want to start the production in September 2017 and breaking even in November 2018. We've been donated the land. My grandfather allowed us to use a piece of land that he's not using, and we can actually produce our lab and our plant there in collaboration with Avifarm to make sure they like the product before we start doing industrial production. And the plans have been designed by AD Enterprise already, so we have the plans. And we've raised the money on Kickstarter to do that. We've raised $13,000 on Kickstarter that allows us to build our model. This is the plant. We have 3 main buildings. The first one is for storage, the second one is for production and hatching, and the third one is for processing. So in total space, we need 430 square meters to do our product, but we're planning to allow space for trucks to move in and materials, so we are planning to work on 500 square meters of area. Our competitive advantage, why we are the best to do this? Because we have a very strong network. We've been able, because the project was selected in the Next Economy, the first project launched by Impact Hub International, an incubator for social businesses. I've been selected in the top 3 to present in front of the Minister of Employment and the Ambassador of the Netherlands in Mali. The Minister fell in love with the project, invited me to his house to discuss the details of it. And regulation in Mali is allowing us to produce and sell to the producers because in North America and Europe, the legislation does not allow the use of insect protein in animal feed for now. But the ProtERA's project is actually lobbying to make sure that happens in the future. So when that happens, then we are open to a multi-billion-dollar industry. We want to start in Africa now because it's easier for us, and then we're planning to expand there. We have a company willing to do invoice discounting and purchase order financing for us already, based in Africa. And we also have a subsidies expert, a specialist in the Netherlands in black soldier farming that's willing to get into the project in terms of equity or in terms of consulting. And lastly, we've raised 1/10 of our startup cost on Kickstarter, and we've been selected among the top 2 sustainable startups of Mali by the Accelerate 30, a program designed by Impact Hub International, present in 40 countries, doing this with the UNDP. This is showing that there is there is trust in this project. People think that this is something that's going to happen and be big. And lastly, we have a US-based campaign partner, Little Hertz, who's promoting entomophagy in North America, who's been tweeting our campaign all over North America. So all the big companies in North America and insects know what we do. This is our team. I'm Sidiki. I've studied agribusiness and agronomy at McGill University. I was specialized in agribusiness, and I've been able to develop $500,000 cattle feed in my last work. ProtERA is a financial analyst with 2 years of experience in risk investment. Pierre Olivier is doing his PhD in aquaculture at Stirling University, who did the ProtEInsect project, and he has built a farm in Ghana and operated it for 15 months. So he knows what he's doing. And lastly, you have Golope Kone, who is the world pioneer in fly larva research. He started this research in the 1990s, and he's been recruited by the European Union in Mali, worked for them, and headed the project for 4 years. Lastly, we are blessed to have an amazing board of advisors. We have the CEO of Aspire, the world leader in insect farming, and Forbes Magazine Social Enterprise of the Year 2016. This is my uncle, actually, the CEO of Avifarm, who is our first customer. And this is also the CEO of Ferme Piscicole Diallo. These are our mentors from Impact Hub. Issam is mentioned in magazine Forbes 2014, 2015, and 2016 as one of the 30 most promising entrepreneurs of Africa. So this is it. This is the revolution, using biotechnology to revolutionize the agriculture industry. This is the revolution of the 21st century, and this is an opportunity for all of us to invest in a sustainable and profitable business. Thank you very much.
Judges, any questions?
So first of all, congratulations. It's a very amazing opportunity. I was interested to know, you said that it was for now not allowed in certain Western countries to introduce the insect-based feed. Do you know if that's because of perception, or is it because of worried of certain diseases, especially in context of the mad cow disease, which I'm sure you followed, where the sheep was used as feed for cows?
Right.
Have you looked into that to protect your barrier to entry?
Definitely, because that's part of the ProtEInsect research, and I'm in touch with them because the head of the research is Golope Kone, who's part of the team.
And so he's obviously...
He knows, we know everything about that. We know that that's because of that Europe doesn't allow that. But the ProtEInsect project objective is to actually research that. They've done testing and feeding animals with it for 4 years, to go back to Europe and show them that this is something that's feasible and there's no health issues.
So far no cows with wings or things like that?
No, and we actually are only feeding monogastrics. So we're only feeding fish, poultry, and pigs. We're not feeding cows.
And there's no side effects that you've observed, or no beginning of worrying diseases?
For the domestic fly, which is a pest world, there is health concerns. This one cleans the environment. 0.15 grams of it can clean all the pathogen bacteria of 13 kilograms of organic material. It's an environmental cleaner. Any other questions?
Thank you. I think you've answered my question.
Okay.
Yeah. Sidiki, I congratulate you. You're one of the best presentations I never see.
Thank
you know.
Thank you.
It's proven the business model. You got the put. I mean, you are all for it to succeed. I think you don't ask a lot of money, you know. I think you can raise it here. You're in Canada, bro. If you need help, let me know. So definitely, I think about the concern about health. If you can put emphasis on it, just as a small suggestion, because people will think at the beginning, I think we're here to go with insect feeding. It doesn't make sense, you know. But if you make a lot of lobby and you put a lot, I think you have a very high potential. I mean, it's scalable, this business, and you will have competitor quick, you know. So you need to go fast, because if you go the first on the market, and I say you have the woman. What was a ProtEInsect before, not a woman, but which was in the market before, right?
The European.
Yeah, ProtEInsect.
That's what research is.
Yeah, okay, but do you have partnership with them, or do you?
No, I don't have partnership with them, but I'm working with the head of the project in Mali.
Okay.
He was the head of the project. So this technology is coming from Mali to Europe.
So cool. Oh, so cool.
And you raised a question about the health. In the natural environment, poultry, they eat larvae. And the reason why we use larvae for fish bait is because fish, they love it.
That's true.
No, I'm not concerned about the health. I think that more about the lobbies. You know, if the blockade down here is not, as you were saying, what's the
Canada just allowed the use
Exactly.
of 10 species in animal feed back in July.
So I think you have a lot of job to pushing, you know, the lobbies to help have a pilot, you know, make sure and you know, and you keep it because of your business. I think it's you have to be careful. It's like there's a project like that come from Africa and not the type, this type. Now in Canada is the head of it, you know. So you may lose it very quickly. The leadership. I'm not saying you're not.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So because you are the first on the market.
Yeah.
You know, usually you have the first on the market to make it, or you can be the fast on the market.
That's right. That's even better than the patent.
Exactly. So I'm trying to tell you, make sure you can be the faster also in the market.
Yeah.
So the thing is, today we can't sell to Europe because it's
Because
just
of the
not
barrier
allowed.
to entry.
Exactly. So we can't sell in Mali because it's allowed. So that's why we need to start in Mali, and once the regulation drops in Europe, then we can go to Europe. I think. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In your lobbying, of course, it's based on the medical research, but it's also based on, I think, on perception, as you were saying, as you touched upon, in people's mind. It's not something that they're used to, and I think your example that you gave was very good because it reassures people.
Right.
Because I hadn't even thought of that. The fish with the you know, the maggot. You know, it's
Right.
true, and we do that every day. Canadians go fishing.
Exactly.
And so these examples are very important in your marketing, in selling this idea, because you're having to sell not only the lab test results, but also the perception. And that's, I think that's going to be important in your lobbying. I know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thing is, for producers in Mali, they don't really care about the source. They just care about the price,
Yeah,
the nutritional value.
Yeah, that's
They
it.
don't care about
That's
anything
it,
else.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if the product is safe, I think we're good.
Yeah, that's it.
May I see your team members?
Yes.
Please?
Of course.
Okay, let's assume that
He wants to joke.
I am just following your idea. So let's assume that I am a very rich man, and I will take your head of protein set and your PhD partner, okay? And I will develop a company
That will
like
pay.
yours,
Yeah.
because I want this market. I love the financials you show us.
Right.
So I did it. What are you going to do?
It's not a problem
Why not?
because we have 90 million metric tons of waste in Africa every year. So there's space for everyone. We can have a very profitable business with 100 competitors on the market. It's not going to affect us. We already have a network. We've been building this network for a year.
But I took 2 people of your
It's a blue.
team.
It's a blue ocean market.
Okay, that's great. But this is not my point. My point is, in terms
Still have
of
to be
ethics,
smart.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about your top management team members.
Right.
So what do you want to do?
If you take my management team,
Yeah. I took two.
two of them.
This is my point.
I
We
said-
can pay for that.
I have a partner. I have a partner in the Netherlands who's willing to do this project with me. He wants to get involved in different ways, either equity or just consultancy. So I'm speaking with a partner who's willing to do this project with me, who has 1 year of experience in environmentally controlled environment to do that. This is a very new industry. I think we need to convince people first that there is something to do here before they actually jump into
But
it.
do you see my point? My point is
What
not to
protects
blue
it?
ocean.
What protects it?
It is not to blue ocean.
Nothing
It
can
is
protect
your,
from
your,
that.
your, how are you going to manage
Uh-huh.
the loyalty
That's right.
inside your
Right.
top management team? This is my question. It is not about the market.
Okay.
It is inside your company.
Right.
How are you going to govern your company?
You have contracts with your
Exactly.
employees or your partners. Do you have something bound? You know, not allow them to get out and do something to compete you. You see what? This question is more legal.
Yeah.
How you protect
Okay.
yourself
So
with your team?
It's a very good question,
It's
but
not really.
it's more about
It's
how you're
ethics.
gonna manage
Yeah.
right.
your business.
Yeah, it's a corporate governance question. You know?
Unbelievable.
I see what you mean. So I
Yeah.
think my competitive advantage is really my very strong network and networking skills. So I've been able to put this up and to reach out to all the key partners, and I'm ready to invest myself in it 100%. So I'm leading, my team and bringing them with me on this project. I've reached out to all of them. I've been able to convince this one to put $5,000 in the business. She's already part of it. She's invested money in it. She's not going anywhere.
So these people have love for your business
Exactly.
and for you.
She saw me.
That's a good one.
She saw the campaign. She
They
loved
all
it.
stockholder?
She is. He's probably going to be also, or a consultant. But once we actually master what we do, we're good to go, because it's all research and development. But these people are looking for opportunities to do what they want to do, because this is a PhD students. Companies that are doing this, there are like maybe 10 companies in the world doing this. This is an opportunity for this man to actually practice what is being studying for his PhD.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just for finishing, the tools are custom made, right?
Not the tools of production.
Yes.
Not all of them.
Okay.
We are importing a dehydrator. We're buying crushers.
Okay. And
Equipment is also imported
okay. So you make 1 ton per day, right?
in the first year.
Okay.
Yes. Right.
How much are you gonna sell 1 ton? What's the price you're selling it?
600 and I can't put it.
Yeah,
600.
692.
692. And your cost was how much?
The cost of production per ton is $220.
Okay.
Which one was it?
And is it? Are you gonna sell it to the same customer during all your time, or?
He has a need of 1.2 tons per day. In 2017, he's reaching out to 700 heads.
Okay, so you're gonna sell to the
I sell
same
everything
person.
to him in the
Yeah.
first year. When I double, then I can sell to other businesses that are doing the same thing at the same size. And there's plenty of them. We have 11 million heads of poultry in Mali. The market is just there.
Okay, time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
your
you so much for
presentation.
your
Alright, that's it for this morning. So good luck for the rest of the competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Autism,
It's always a work process.
Yeah.
It's doable, but you need.
Yeah. Great. And then Nanis?
Thank you so much for your time.
It was really
Is that pour la nourriture? Ah, ok.
Issues. Think about corporate governance issues. Question I asked.
Okay.
Thank you. I'll think about that too.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, very nice.
Thank you very much.
Well done. That was amazing.
Thank you for
Very
your
well
time.
done.
Yeah. I left my coach with me connected.
I would also leave. If you need marketing support for your marketing company. Here you go, Chris. Good to meet you. Send me an email. I'm very interested to hear.
Yeah.
We do marketing.
Great.
That's something
For your time.
Yeah.
And feedback.
Yeah. Keep in touch. I'm telling you,
Thank you.
I believe I have contact in my network will be a person. I know one of the guys who want to invest in overseas market. One of the kids, not a lot. Honestly, you can reach it by yourself.
Yeah, I think I can. I already actually have
The time.
14 million
Okay,
saved.
cool. Bravo.
That's like more than 3/4 of the.
C'est ça. C'est pas trop
Yeah, but I don't want to start in Canada.
No. You wait for money.
In Canada too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Il va dans la grosse.
Il parle français. Il y a
Okay.
money.
Thank you.
Non, vous avez délibéré de the results.
C'est pour ça là que je vais prendre des notes sur l'âge.
Mali et France.
Ok.
Ma mère est française.
Jusqu'à 1 heure, je pense. Parce que,
On revient.
Jeter les réseaux sur moi.
On laisse savoir là.
Ça se passe où tout ça?
Je pense qu'on reste ici là.
On va rester ici jusqu'à
Oui, oui, Seed Stars, la première année Seed Stars World.
Comment ça s'appelle?
Seed Stars.
Seed Stars.
C'est $500 000 de crédit qui vont dans 40 pays pour aller prendre les meilleures startups de tech. Et c'est une entreprise française.
Ouais, c'est ça.
Seed Stars.
Seed Stars. Seed comme
Ok, ok.
et Stars comme Stars.
Stars. Ok, c'est qui a lancé ce
C'est des
projet?
Français.
Ouais, je comprends. Pas de problème.
Mais au point de vue éducation,
Ouais, ça fait que dans le fond, pour les stars,
comment ça se
ça,
passe?
mais je pense sincèrement
Ça va être autour d'un lunch, on va voir le lunch avec tout le monde. On est censé prendre notre lunch là-bas, revenir, tout ça.
sincèrement, ça, je sais
Je sais pas. Ok, parce que
On va attendre.
on va voir.
Pour les jeunes.
C'est quoi ça?
Il n'y a pas beaucoup de tech. C'est très
C'est le time timing.
rudimentaire.
Ok.
Pas de tech innovant. Mais il y
Je
a-
sais qu'au Ghana, par exemple, Ghana,
Non, c'est plus les ONG qui vont faire ça dans les villages.
Ok.
Mais c'est pas encore très.
Ok,
Il y a un marché pour ça.
ok.
Il y a un marché pour ça. Il y a un marché pour ça partout en Afrique.
En tout cas, tu as des contacts de gens,
Ouais,
le
d'éducation,
truc, la protéine,
etc.
c'est ça, c'est qu'il veut aussi y aller.
Ok.
Moi, c'est ça que je
Puis en plus,
fais.
Et aller en Afrique.
J'ai été
Imagine, déjà, il
des
sera
projets
capable
avec
de
les
lire.
C'est vachement intéressant.
mais je travaille à Montréal.
Il y a un super
je
network
travaille
avec les gens de haut niveau à travers
je
ça.
vais dans les organismes avec les
Juste le
jeunes,
fait que ça
etc.
famille,
Mais je veux développer un
faire sur
aspect
l'intérieur.
C'est bon signe, là. C'est pas juste qu'il aime bien.
éventuellement. Mais ton projet.
Moi j'étais
là,
sceptique quand je faisais de la
c'est
protéine.
du solide.
Le first thing is compétition, puis moi le trend. Il y a un autre gars qui a fait du whey protein.
Ah ouais, possible.
Base sur le sec, l'autre c'est des comme des biscuits pour les chiens et les chats. C'est vraiment un trend.
C'est très intéressant.
Mais lui, c'est le supplier de ça. Puis toutes les startups que j'ai vues utilisent ce
Ça
produit.
pourrait.
Tu comprends?
C'est pour ça que lui, c'est vraiment bien.
Fait que là, ça c'est encore mieux. Là.